Hi guys, welcome to the video. So in my last easy mixing tutorial, I was showing you how I use tonal balance control in my master track when mixing. In this second part, I'll show you how I organize my tracks, and I'll explain why I think it's important to keep everything tidy and labeled. We'll use Ableton Live for this tutorial as it's my favorite though. I normally start my songs in the MPC and then pass them to Ableton for further mixing, mastering, arrangements, automation, and on. Okay, perfect. So let's start. The very first thing I'd like to tell you is that I think it's good if you spend some time working on templates. It saves you lots of time and energy. You won't have to worry about setting up anything in the future if you make it right the very first time. When you're working on the right template and everything's set up, the routing, the compressors, the EQs, you just have to worry about your ideas and the performance, having fun. Think of these subgroups as folders that contain other folders. Any new sound will have to be added to one of these subgroups or folders so it can be processed accordingly. Drums contains any drum sounds, kick, snare, hats. Bass exclusively for bass, mids for synths, keyboards, leads for lead sounds, and effects is basically transitions, dialogues, anything that's predominant in the higher end of the spectrum. Now, as you can tell by watching my previous easy mixing video, I'm a big fan of tonal balance control. My setup was built with the purpose of being able to find the 4 areas of the spectrum with ease whenever we come across balance problems. So the very first thing we need in our project is the following subgroups: drums, bass, mids, leads, and effects, specifically in that order from left to right. The following rules apply to all subgroups. 1. Faders. You'll never touch the subgroup's fader. That fader is your best reference and it'll help you understand what's happening with the sounds in the subgroup. You'll be able to identify crazy peaks or inconsistencies. With experience, you'll be able to decide what type of compressor and what settings are required just by seeing the fader's behavior. 2. The effects. All subgroups contain EQ, compressor, and utility. In subgroups, the EQ rule is to achieve balance and remove low frequencies. Any resonance issues need to be solved directly in the track contained by the subgroup, so try to avoid drastic stuff just in this particular EQ. Compressor will help you catch peaks during sections where instruments clash. Utility is good for checking your subgroup in mono and increasing or decreasing mid-side volume. I'll explain that more in depth in future episodes, of course. Okay, and 3, sidechain. This is optional, guys, because some of you might not like the effect that sidechain produces on your tracks. This is mostly depending on the genre you're working on, right? But sidechain is contained in each of the subgroups and the settings are different. I'll explain why in future episodes. And 4, colors. With Ableton we can set up colors for different clips. So I like to have one color for all the tracks contained in the subgroup, and sometimes I use different tones of green, different tones of red, for example, and that's gonna help me set priorities, or some tracks can stand out because they're more important or they have a specific role in the track. It's just good for reminders, and it comes very handy when navigating the arrangement view in Ableton. Okay, so at this point you might be asking yourself, like, why using the system? Why is it good? Let me explain the advantages. So the very first advantage would be peak levels. You can make sure peak levels are appropriate for the subgroup. For example, my kicks usually the highest in volume in the project, and my effects the lowest. With the subgroups I can clearly see what's going on, what's the difference in level in between the subgroups, and obviously all the tracks contained. Mids and leads cannot be louder than my bass, for example. So I try to match the shape of the spectrum with the shape of my faders from left to right. Find and fix issues easily. Second advantage. When an area of the spectrum is causing you trouble, according to tonal balance control, you'll be able to find the instrument and subgroup that needs to be fixed in seconds. You'll feel like you're in control of everything that's happening in the project. Third advantage, add new sounds with confidence. Adding new sounds is easy. It feels easy, enjoyable, because the low end, the dynamics, everything's being fixed by the effects in the subgroup. And the only thing you have to worry is about where you place these sounds, which subgroup to choose. You have to be careful with that. When adding new sounds, just keep in mind the 4 areas of the spectrum and what purpose or role this new sound is meant to serve. 4 main advantage, soloing subgroups. Soloing subgroups is very useful and convenient. You'll be able to hear how similar instruments are kind of fighting for space in the spectrum. Once you understand how these instruments fight for space, you'll be able to make decisions with experience. Decisions like lowering the volume of one of the two or using your EQs in the specific tracks to help them find space and get a better sound overall. This is very good training for your ears. Okay, so this is all for now, guys. I really hope you find this video useful. Keep sharing all tricks, techniques, everything I've learned with you in future videos. I recommend you to try this setup for now. Go to your DAW, start a new template, set it up this way, and then send me your questions, comments, everything to the comment section below. Then we can figure out together if this is the best setup, what's missing, how to improve it. It's never over. If you're feeling a bit confused with this video, I recommend you to watch my previous, because there I explain one of the last steps in the mixing process. I'll leave you for now, but I see you on the next video. Adios.